They laughed at his clothes, mocked his smell, and whispered behind his back, until the beggar walked into the manager's office and dropped a check that left the entire mall silent. It was a bright Saturday morning at Silver Pines Mall in Houston, Texas. Shoppers buzzed between boutiques and food courts, music played from overhead speakers, and the scent of cinnamon pretzels floated through the air. No one noticed the man sitting quietly near the entrance, until they did. He was dressed in an old army jacket, mud-stained jeans. His shoes were barely holding together. He had a thick beard, a worn duffel bag, and eyes that wandered, as if looking for something lost. Kids stared. Parents pulled them away. At first, people ignored him. Then they started whispering. A teenage cashier at Maxwear Clothing Co. elbowed her friend and laughed. "Is he seriously thinking about shopping here?" Her friend smirked. "He probably thinks the mannequins are giving out free clothes." A group of young guys on break from the food court chuckled as they walked by. "Hey man," one shouted, "spare a Gucci belt?" The man didn't respond, just looked at the store quietly, until the store manager, a man named Derek, walked out and snapped, "Sir, you can't loiter here. This is a premium retail space. Either buy something or leave." The man simply nodded. "I'd like to speak with whoever owns this location." Derek rolled his eyes. "The owner doesn't take meetings with people like you." But the man calmly pulled out a folded piece of paper from his duffel bag. A certified check, made out for $1.2 million, with the memo line, "Full purchase, Maxwear location number 14. Derek's face went pale. The staff? Speechless. The man finally looked up and said, "You assumed I was homeless. You didn't even bother to ask my name." The store manager's hands shook as he took the check and scanned it again, unsure if this was a prank or some elaborate joke. But the bank details were real. The signature at the bottom? Even more shocking, Michael L. Grant, founder and CEO of Grand Tech Ventures, a startup-turned-billion-dollar retail tech empire. The man in the worn jacket was Michael Grant himself. And the only reason anyone had heard of him was because of the tech he created, the very tech that powered Maxwear's inventory system. Derek stammered, "Mr. Grant, I didn't recognize you." Michael held up a hand. "That's the point. You weren't trying to." He turned toward the two teenage cashiers, who had been whispering earlier. "You judged me because of how I looked, because I didn't fit into your version of who deserves respect." They stood frozen, unable to speak. Michael turned toward the growing crowd that had started to gather around the storefront. "I walked in like this on purpose, not to test you, but to remind myself what it feels like to be invisible. I grew up with holes in my shoes. I slept in a shelter 3 blocks from here. I built my life from the bottom up. And today I came back, not for revenge, but to see if anyone still recognized the value of a human being, beyond clothing." No one moved. No one laughed now. Michael then looked at Derek, the manager. "As of this moment, I'm the new owner of this location. And the first decision I'm making?" Derek swallowed hard. "Yes, sir." "You're relieved of your position. But not because you were rude to me, because this is how you treat people when you think no one's watching." Gasps echoed across the store. But Michael wasn't done. As Derek silently walked out of the store, red-faced and stunned, the silence inside Maxwear hung thick like smoke. No one dared move. No one dared speak. Until Michael turned to the rest of the staff. "I'm not here to punish everyone. I'm here to reward what this store forgot: human decency." He scanned the room. Then his eyes landed on a young woman near the dressing rooms, someone who had been quiet the whole time. "Weren't you the one who gave me a bottle of water when I came in?" he asked. She nodded nervously. "I just thought you looked tired. I didn't know who you were. Michael smiled gently. That's exactly why I'm promoting you. The room buzzed. She blinked. Promoting me? To what? Manager. Starting today. Anyone who leads with compassion deserves a place at the top, not just the ones who chase commissions. A few people clapped, hesitant at first, then louder. Michael turned to the rest of the team. I'll be remodeling this store. Not just the layout, the culture. No more judging customers by how they look. No more pretending someone's invisible. From today forward, this location will be the pilot for our new initiative. Customer first, ego last. And just like that, the man they had laughed at was reshaping the very company they worked for. But Michael didn't stick around for applause. He handed the new manager a business card and said quietly, "You ever need anything, you call me directly, not through corporate, through me." Then he turned, picked up his old duffel bag, and walked out through the same glass doors he entered, leaving behind a storm of whispers and wide eyes. But this time not a single person laughed. They watched and learned. By the following morning, the story was everywhere. They laughed at a homeless man. He turned out to be the owner. Billionaire's disguise sparks nationwide conversation on kindness and bias. The hashtag #MichaelGrantMoment trended across platforms. Footage from shoppers and staff had gone viral. Millions watched as Michael, in his old coat and muddy boots, rewrote every rule about appearance, power, and respect. But the real impact wasn't online. It was inside stores across the country, where managers began training employees differently, where dress codes for customers were reevaluated, where conversations around human worth replaced empty small talk. Michael didn't return to the spotlight. He didn't need to. Instead, he focused on quietly expanding the Customer First, Ego Last program to hundreds of retail chains, starting with locations in low-income neighborhoods where judgment came quickest. And the new manager at that Maxwear store? Her name was Samantha Reed. Every Friday, she led a team huddle with one core message. You don't know who's walking through that door, but you do know how to treat them. And right beside the register, she framed a copy of the check Michael had dropped on the counter, next to a quote he left handwritten. Don't wait until someone's rich to treat them like they matter. Michael L. Grant. 1 year later. The same group of teens who once laughed now volunteered at a community clothing drive held inside the store. They didn't wear Maxwear uniforms anymore. They wore humility. Because sometimes, the person you dismissed today owns the roof over your head tomorrow, and they won't always teach you with words. They'll teach you with dignity,